正解。
Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 127, Meeting with an Old Acquaintance. On the road back, Shinzin and Lu Zuyan did not say anything, even though on the surface they worked hard to show a very relaxing appearance. At the end some solemnness revealed itself. Shen Kaiyu was also uncharacteristic, and even though Lu Tan had a carefree personality, she also was sensitive to perceive that there was something wrong with the situation, and was cautious not to speak. After all, one had offended Princess Ming'an, which mean also offending the crown prince of the Qin country. The Shen family just returned and had been pushed to where the wind and waves were the fiercest. It was just like there was an invisible hand behind them that always pushed the Shen family out. Shinzin and Lu Zuyan was not afraid if there were difficult things in the future, but today it was Shen Miao that came forwards, so they feared that Princess Ming'an will hate Shen Miao, and would use underhanded methods to hinder her. Since matters had progressed to such, when the water rises, one uses the earth to keep back, and when soldiers come, one uses a general to keep them off. One could only protect Shen Miao even better, and not have any flaws. Upon returning back to the residence, after Shen Miao returned to her courtyard and cleaned up, it was already somewhat late. She lit the oil lamp, and when Gu Yu saw that she had no intention to rest, she said, "Is young lady still worried about the matter tonight?" "It is of no matter. With Master and Furen, they would not let that Qin princess mess around." Shen Miao shook her head. She was clearer than others what kind of character Princess Ming'an had. Princess Ming'an had a very strong sense of pride, and in the last lifetime, she also made things difficult for Shen Miao. That was because Princess Ming'an thought that it was disdainful for Fu Ziyu, such an extraordinary person, to marry such a vulgar wife like her. Now that the great Liang personnel had changed to Prince Ruai, the most outstanding person in Princess Ming'an's heart had become Prince Ruai, but she still did not let her off. This was perhaps what others usually say: some people's enemies were fated, and no matter how many lifetimes passed, it was still the same. "You all can withdraw," Shen Miao said. "I cannot sleep and will play a little while of chess." Gu Yu wanted to say something, but Jings tugged on her sleeves. Jings said, "Then these servants will withdraw." Young lady must not think too much. When one feel tired, it is better to rest early, else will harm one's health. The nights are also cold, so it is better not to be too late. Shen Miao complied, so Jings and Gu Yu withdrew. In front of the small table, the chessboard was empty, so Shen Miao picked the white chess pieces in one end, then the black pieces, and seriously played with herself. She was seriously playing, and time slowly passed. Gradually the empty chessboard was filled with black and white pieces, making it extremely complicated. She was initially playing as she wishes to, but very much later she would need to think very hard before placing one piece down. Outside of the courtyard, it was very quiet, that even the birds and insect noises were not heard, as the Ding capital had fallen into a dream. A breeze was gently blowing in the courtyard. As Shen Miao looked at the chessboard, she gently breathed out. In 2 years' time, all the party's forces were already out, and all the pawns that were arranged had already walked to the position that they should be at. From some perspective, being the first in the key moment might not be able to win the overall victory. This was the game between her and Fu Ziyu, but now it seemed that she had thought of things too simple. Everything in this lifetime was still changing. She was changing and was no longer the her from the previous lifetime, so naturally others would also change. The only thing that did not change was change itself, and no one was unable to expect what kind of change would there be in the overall game. She glanced at the chess game on the table, and stood up before heading over to the windows and pushing them open. The autumn wind from outside blew in and brought in some coolness. There was some tree shadows swaying, and she looked at them for a while before turning around. But the oil lamp in the room burned out and the flame was extinguished. As the light went out, the moonlight was like a river of water flowing into the room, lighting the room up with snow-like light. It was much more refreshing than the lamp. A da noise sounded from the table. One did not know from when onwards there was a person sitting in front of the chessboard. His hand was holding the black pieces, and he placed the pieces down casually on the board before looking towards Shen Miao. The purple and gold long robes were very gorgeous under the moonlight, and there was some familiarity to those lines. This was clearly an arrogant gesture, but it was blocked by the half mask, which made it somewhat reserved. Shen Miao did not feel surprised at the person who turned up uninvited. She closed the window without a change of expression, and suddenly the room became dark. Shen Miao walked to the front of the table and relighted the lamp after fumbling a wick out. Under the warm yellow glow, the person with perfumed clothes and gorgeous hair looked extremely ambiguously. Shen Miao held the lamp and walked over and sat down across the person. "You were waiting for me?" The purple-clad youth's voice was low, and it was exceptionally good to hear in the night, as the deliberate suppressed voice was somewhat raspy, as if it was spoken to a lover's ear. His voice also had a trace of a smile, which was very pleasant. Shen Miao stared at the mask on his face. Even the mask could not hide his good appearance. A beautiful chin and red lines, that become more mysterious and breathtaking because of the cover-up. From the rumors, everyone in the Great Liang imperial family was beautiful, and even though she had not seen the true appearance of Prince Ruai, she knew that just based on elegance, this person was already extraordinary. "Your Highness strike the pillar 3 times. Was it not reminding this official's daughter to meet up before the 3rd of the 5-night watch period, modern timing, 11 p.m., 1 a.m. This official's daughter dare not disobey orders." When the words were out, Shen Miao could clearly see that the person opposite hooked his lips up. So smart. His attitude was obviously frivolous and even somewhat romantic, but one did not know why it made others feel some distance, as if one was aware that this person was cold and cruel to the bones. Shen Miao quietly looked at him. "What does your highness would like to say to this official's daughter?" The purple-clad youth casually picked up a black chess piece from the basket to play. That lanky fair hand that held the black piece showed a different type of delicate beauty. He glanced at the chess game and said, "This game is interesting." "Little girl, the unstable situations of the world are all in your chess game. One do not know where would the Great Liang be, and which piece would this prince be." He actually took a glance and was able to immediately break the map, and see that this was the chess game of the Ming Qi. Shen Miao was silent. His voice was lazy with a touch of casualness. "This prince saw you in today's tribute banquet, and it seemed that you are acquainted with Princess Ming'an." "You had seen Princess Ming'an before?" Shen Miao's heart tightened. She was naturally aware of Princess Ming'an, and other than Huang Fuhao, with her today's performance, other would not have any suspicion at all. One was a princess of the Qin country, and the other was the daughter of a Ming Qi's official, and moreover, the Qin country was thousands of miles apart from the Ming Qi, and it was Princess Ming'an's first trip to the Ming Qi, so no one would link Princess Ming'an with her. But from the words of the person in front, he mercilessly ripped the surface apart and exposed the truth. What did he discover? What did he investigate? Or was it simply by observing during the banquet that something was not right? If it was the latter, then this man was simply too scary. However, her facial features did not make any moves, even though her fingers under her sleeves slightly clenched. There was a smile floating on her face. Unfortunately, this official's daughter had not met Princess Ming'an before, but is old acquainted with Prince Ruai. The purple youth looked at her from the side before suddenly placing both hands on the table, and leaned forwards to get closer to Shen Miao and whispered by her ears, "Oh, when was that?" Shen Miao looked at the person very closely. His breathing was gentle, but his golden buttons were cold. His lips might have laughter, but his eyes were indifferent. This was a man who, no matter if he was filled with fire or ice, had dangerous intentions written all over. He was attractive enough to entice others, but also made Shen Miao to instinctively want to avoid. That pair of dark eyes that were as deep as oceans stared at her. She lowered her head and avoided that meaningful expression, and stared at the exquisite embroidered patterns and buttons and said lightly, "One trust you have been well, Zi Jingxing." It seemed that the air went still in that moment, as small sparks appeared with a crackling sound at the lamp. The wick fell and disappeared after blazing up in brightness. Shen Miao raised her head and looked at him. The purple-clad youth smiled faintly and looked at Shen Miao. Both of their shadows that were cast on the floor showed gestures of touching emotions, as if at the next moment he would be kissing Shen Miao. He slowly withdrew his hand and sat back onto his place. His voice was still in delight. "One trust you have been well, Shen Miao." The purple-clad youth reached out to remove the mask on his face. Eyebrows as sharp as swords, eyes that were filled with affection, brave sharp nose and moist lips. It was as if one was a beautiful youth yesterday, but after 2 years this was truly a handsome and beautiful man. The smile on the ends of his lips was as usual filled with slightly ridicule and unruliness, and there was no longer a brassy youthfulness in his eyes. That was a type that made one's heart palpitate deeply, as if it was dark at night, beautiful because of the stars, but terrifying due to the darkness. He was filled with a noble, conceited and elegant air, that reached the pinnacle after 2 years, and each movement and action was filled with inherent arrogance. The pure moon was usually cold and indifferent, but was as bright as the scorching sun now. Without the check and balances and confining identity, the Zijingxing that reappeared no longer exercised restraint, and became so dazzling that no one could ignore. He looked at Shen Miao with a smile but not a smile and said ambiguously, "After not seeing for 2 years, who gave you the courage to call my name?" He said that, but after all change this prince to my. Shen Miao said, "Now you are not the little Marquis of the Mingqi's residence of the Marquis of Linen. If you do not like being called by that name, then it is possible to call you Prince Ruai." In her words there was some sarcasm mixed in them. From the little Marquis of the Mingqi's residence of the Marquis of Linen, to the blood brother of the great Liang's Emperor Yongle, this time Zijingxing had indeed go all the way to the side. However, even though Shen Miao said it politely, she had underestimated Zijingxing. He smiled lazily and said, "Since you insist on calling my name, I am helpless. But one forgot to tell you that my real name is Ziyuan, and when you call me Zijingxing, you are calling me by my little name, aka nickname like Zhao Zhao equals Shen Miao. How is it when one grown up, one become much more passionate?" The smile on his lips was very frivolous. "Have you and me reached the extent of calling each other's little name?" Shen Miao glared at him angrily. Other than loved ones, only lovers and spouses would call each other by their small names. Shen Miao did not expect that even though Zijingxing changed his identity, Jingxing would be his little name. Speaking of that, she then remembered that Emperor Yongle of the Great Liang also had the surname of Zi, and the imperial family of the Liang dynasty was the Zi family clan. This was really a coincidence. Zijingxing poured a cup of tea for himself. After 2 years, Xin had even moved out from the general residence, but Zijingxing, as always, still had the habit of freely coming in and out. He drank a mouthful of tea before taking a glance at the angry Shen Miao, and found it very interesting. "Courtesy demands reciprocity. Is it that you want me to call you Zhao Zhao?" That Zhao Zhao words were called so sweetly and romantically that, combined with Zijingxing's charm, unless it was an extraordinary female, one would be so lost that one did not know where north was. Shen Miao's body felt feverish after being called as such. She thought that if Zijingxing did not have the identity of an imperial family, if he were to be a leading actor of the theater, he would be able to live very well and even be famous. "Thinking of what?" Zijingxing asked. "Thinking that you are so beautiful that even the leading actor of the theater would not be able to compete. It is no wonder that a mask is required to cover it up." Shen Miao deliberately made him angry. Zijingxing choked up and one did not know what he was thinking about, as the lazy look he had on turned rigid for a moment. Shen Miao saw him like that and her heart became very happy. But before she could speak, Zijingxing raised his brows. "To be this worried about me, it seemed that you admire me wholeheartedly?" Shen Miao said, "Does Prince Ruai know how to write own wishful thinking?" After being disgusted by Zijingxing's mention of little name, and since it was not good to call him Little Marquis Zi, Shen Miao simply used the cold and icy Prince Ruai instead. obviously clarifying the boundaries. "At that time when you hugged me and forcefully kissed me, you were not that heartless," he said. Shin Miao stared incredulous at him with wide eyes, but she did not know that this appearance looked exactly like a newly born mountain fawn, clear round eyes that were so delicate and pitiful. She said, "What is the meaning of your words?" Zi Jingxing reached his hands out and pinched her face. His movements were too fast that Shen Miao was unable to dodge, and when she could react, Zi Jingxing had already withdrew his hand and said after slightly pondering, "It seems that you cannot remember that during the first night after you left the capital, I said goodbye to you." Shin Miao blinked out and stared at him without speaking. Zi Jingxing gave a sigh, as expected, refusing knowledge of others after drinking. "You do not remember what you did to me?" Tangled expressions appeared on Shen Miao's face. As the saying goes, after drinking, one's character would be in disorder, and drinking would botch things up. In fact, she has a good capacity for alcohol, but the plum blossom wine that night was too intoxicating. In order to prevent herself from saying or doing the wrong things, and arousing the others' suspicions, she had avoided the rest and slept by herself in a room. One did not think that Zi Jingxing would be there. "Prince Ruai is joking. I am only a chance acquaintance with Prince Ruai, so what can be done?" Shen Miao pressed the unsettledness in her heart, and on the surface she was calm. But at the end she knew very little about the matters between a male and female, as in her previous life she blindly fawned Fu Ziyi and had no clue to a male's thoughts. In this regards, she was really as pure as like a white paper, and to deal with Zi Jingxing, this kind of black-hearted person, she was really inexperienced. Zi Jingxing smiled and was not in a hurry to rebut as he spoke in an unhurried manner. "You seem to want to be the empress, and after being drunk, still wanted to pull Li Gong to watch the fireworks, and also want the crown prince and princess to accompany." He looked at Shen Miao with interest. "Empress Shen?" She was drinking tea to cover up, and almost spurted it out. As one had not heard this form of address for many years, Shen Miao almost thought that she was dreaming, and that this rebirth was just a splendid decoration, and the existence of her loved ones was just a beautiful dream, and that when she wake up she would still be in that icy cold palace hall, in which each step she took was towards the direction of the extermination of her clan. Shen Miao's entire body stiffened and she could not admit the facts. Originally she thought that Zi Jingxing deliberately said those words to trick her, but now it seemed that Zi Jingxing really came over that night, and really saw the scene of her drunkenness. Otherwise how would he know so many things? Zi Jingxing was not a god. It is just that, how much did she said and how much did Zi Jingxing listened? Zi Jingxing was so clever, so how much was he able to guess? Her uneasy expression was seen by Zi Jingxing, and his eyes darkened even though there was a laughter on his lips. "No need to be this afraid, as I am always tolerant towards females." "Want to know what you did to this prince?" "What did I do?" Shen Miao calmly looked at him. "Nothing much." Zi Jingxing lazily used his hand to support his chin, looking seeming at thoughts, but the words that were spoken were shockingly vulgar. "You only hugged me and did not let me leave, and kissed me as you cried that you want to be my empress, and want me not to neglect you." Shen Miao was speechless before saying, "I did not do those kind of things." Shen Miao thought that no matter how drunk she was, she would not have such enchanting thoughts of Zi Jingxing. Not to mention that kind of style described was not the way she did things. "You want to renege?" Zi Jingxing frowned. "Shen Zhao, this is not sincere at all." "I will give you money." Shen Miao made a prompt decision. "How much do you want?" "I can compensate." Zi Jingxing quietly looked at her for a while, and one did not know why, but Shen Miao felt that that gaze was as sharp as knives, as if Zi Jingxing wanted to kill her. After a long while, Zi Jingxing then smiled and said in gritted teeth, "You treat me as a hired hand or male pet?" "Money. This prince has never had lack of money." Shen Miao was silent. Zi Jingxing took a deep breath and said, "How did you find out?" Shen Miao did not expect he would change the topic and was puzzled. "What?" Zi Jingxing picked the mask on the table. "How did you discover my identity?" 2 years ago I died in battle, so no matter what, It is rather unreasonable to discover my identity at first sight. Had guessed it before meeting you. Shen Miao said, guessed that you are from the Great Liang, but did not guess that you will be from the imperial family. Afterwards, when one was in the tribute banquet, one vaguely felt you familiar, and boldly took a guess. When Zi Jingxing heard this, suspicion gradually filled his eyebrows as he looked at Shen Miao. Guessed it 2 years ago. At the night in the Wolong Temple, little Marquis came over to drink tea and eat snacks. Shen Miao's expression was calm. Fortunately, I also ate a little of that snack. Zi Jingxing's brows raised. What about that? As luck would have it, Shen Miao said, that snack is made by the chef of the Great Liang's imperial family and tasted delicious. Zi Jingxing was slightly startled. 2 years ago, he had met Shen Miao setting up a scheme involving Shen King and Prince Yu of the first rank in the Wolong Temple, and afterwards, due to his simple interest, he went to Shen Miao's room. Because of all the running that night, he was starving. He borrowed Shen Miao's tea for a drink as he ate his snacks, and also fed Shen Miao one piece. He was doing work in the Mingqi but was after all pampered, so the Great Liang chef was brought over, and that bag of cakes was made by that chef. Zi Jingxing had thought of many hints that Shen Miao would have used to guess this identity, but he totally did not expect it to be this. To think that a bag of cakes would be able to reveal such clues, but his gaze sharpened as he looked at Shen Miao. How did you know that this was made by a Great Liang chef? Had the fortune to eat it once? Shen Miao said, she indeed tried it once, as during the Mingqi tribute banquet. Naturally, other countries would send gifts over. As for the cake, it was just some small thing. The Great Liang's Emperor Yongle liked to eat snacks, and that imperial chef was exceptionally smart to add fruit juice into the snack, so that there would be a fruity taste. It was something new to eat the Great Liang's cake during the tribute banquet, so Shen Miao specifically made it a few times for Fu Ziyu. But Fu Ziyu did not like to eat sweet things, and would often bestow them to the servants every time, making her sad for a while. And the cake that Zi Jingxing ate that night was one that had the fruity taste that the Great Liang's had. Moreover, during that time, the tribute had yet arrived, so it was not possible for the cake to be available. Thus Shen Miao felt it strange at that time. Even though Zi Jingxing did not know where did Shen Miao ate this kind of snacks before, he did not question more and said, merely that, guessed it correctly by a fluke. Shen Miao's pupils hang down. How could she be so confident that Zi Jingxing was one of the Great Liang's people by just a mere bag of snacks? The real doubt started when she saw that imperial physician Jiao Yang. Onwards. At that time she only felt that he was familiar, but later finally remembered that she had seen this imperial physician Jiao before. In the tribute banquet in her last life, the Great Liang sent over a prince of the first rank and a greatly valued minister. That greatly valued minister was famous in the Great Liang for being a think tank, and Fu Ziyu also let Pei Lang pay more attention to this person. This person was not other but Jiao Yang. At that time Jiao Yang's identity was not what imperial physician Jiao but the Great Liang's official. And that day in the Mingqi's palace, she saw traces of familiarity between Zi Jingxing and Jiao Yang, combined with the clue of the cakes. She more or less thought it out. Then much later, when she went to the northwestern region, Zi Jingxing's death was spread out. After the shock passed, Shen Miao slowly calmed down. The past Zi Jingxing did not go to battle at this time, but even in this lifetime, Zi Jingxing ended up with the same outcome. Shen Miao did not believe in fate, and moreover in this lifetime she understood a little of Zi Jingxing. He was such a powerful person, so she did not believe that he would die so miserably. If one were to say that Zi Jingxing used this step to scheme, she would still believe it a little. If such death in a battle would allow him a restart in a new identity, and minimize the amount of hassle, this would kept in line with this person character of keeping things clean. One needed to know that the identity of the little Marquis of the residence of the Marquis of Linen cannot contain Zi Jingxing's ambitions. What exactly was his ambition? Shen Miao's eyes fell onto the black and white patchwork of chess pieces, and a trace of aghast flashed in her heart. Your luck had always been good. Zi Jingxing looked at her unruffled in the midst of chaos. But Shen Miao hesitated for a moment and finally could not help but ask, "How did you become the current Prince Ruai? Did Zi Jingxing create this fake identity? If so, his courage was just too great." The person he was impersonating was not other but one of the great Liang imperial family, and the blood brother of Emperor Yongle. If it was to be discovered, one feared that death 1,000 times would not enough at all. But if it was true, then what was with the identity he had for decades? Why would he be the son of Ming Qi's Ziding? "I am originally the great Liang's Prince Ruai," Zi Jingxing said. Now it only returned back to its rightful owner. Shen Miao heart moved. "Zi Marquis is not your father?" Zi Jingxing laughed in disdain. "The Marquis of Linen? What qualifications he has to be my father?" That means that Zi Jingxing was not Zi Ding's real son. Shen Miao's heart was dumbstruck. Zi Jingxing's identity most likely could implicate a number of things, and these things were things that she had never noticed before in her previous life. Shen Miao suddenly remembered that in her previous life, Fu Ziyu spared no effort to suppress Zi Jingxing, and even arranged for his people to be in the Zi family's army, resulting in Zi Jingxing's death in the hands of his own soldiers, and both Zi father and son gave their lives to the battlefield. Other than Zi Changwu and Zi Changzhou, there were no more descendants in the Zi family. Was it truly because the Fu family's people wanted to crack down on the Zi family highly meritorious and respectable reputation? Or was it that Fu Ziyu had discovered something queer about Zi Jingxing's identity? Did Fu Ziyu want to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots? Her obvious flickering expressions were all seen by Zi Jingxing, and his eyes deepened but his smile became more warm and beautiful. Good looks were his forte, and that handsomeness and glamour blended together, and made it somewhat evil yet very attractive. He knocked on the table. "Today upon meeting with an old acquaintance, you have grown up a lot." Shen Miao recovered to her senses and looked at him. Prince Ruai is currently unlimitedly impressive, from the little Zi Marquis of the residence of the Marquis of Linen to the current Prince Ruai. Zi Jingxing looked even more noble. Previously he could already walk sideways in the Ding capital and the Mingqi, now with the identity of Prince Ruai, one fear he would ascend to heavens. "You are very satisfied?" Zi Jingxing's lips hooked up to a smile. "Very honored?" Shen Miao's eyes were very dignified. "This official's daughter is a Ming Qi's people and Prince Ruai is the great Liang's people. Well, water does not intrude into the river water, so why would one be honored?" Zi Jingxing picked up the mask on the table and put it back on again. The silver mask fit excellently his facial features, and not only did it not cover his brilliance, it made him look even more mysterious like the night, and even more moving and charming. "When you kissed me, you did not say this." His eyes were more moving than the autumn moon as he passed Shen Miao. "Did you not say that I am your man?" Shen Miao rebuked. Prince Ruai's memory diverged. "Will help you to remember later." Zi Jingxing stood up and the corner of the purple robe swiped across the table surface, and wrecked the game of chess. He said, "See you next time, Shen Zhao." Shen Miao was speechless. Zi Jingxing fled out of the window. Shen Miao looked at the back of his figure, and thought to ask Shen Qiu to arrange more guards in the courtyard doors from tomorrow onwards. There were a number of experts staying in this residence, like Shen Xin, Lu Zuyan and Shen Qiu, who all have been in the army, but they were not at all awake. It was truly a joke to be able to enter and leave the residence that freely. Outside the window, by the Shen residence, there was a purple-clad male walking. It was the third of the 5 night watch periods, modern timing, 11 p.m., 1 a.m., and there was not a single person on the streets except for that male and the guard behind, whose shadows were stretched due to the moonlight. The moonlight was unable to hide the radiance as the silver mask was shining brightly. The guard behind said, "Master looked like in a good mood." It was said that he went to see an old acquaintance, but after coming out from the Shen residence, his lips were hooked up from the beginning to the end. The guard did not know what kind of good news his master had heard to make him this happy. The youth glanced at the bodyguard and the gold threads on his sleeves sparkled faintly, making him look heroic. There was a smile but not a smile in his eyes. and his voice was moving and pleasant like spring breeze. Saw an interesting person, naturally it was not bad.